This is the Infinite Loop Show, episode 37 for
In a row? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Infinite Loop Show, episode number 37. I'm Michael Gaines.
You are tired of something. I think you need one of these.
I think I might, but I have one of these, which is iced tea.
A purple cup? Oh,
No,
okay.
it's green tea. Lame, I know. I'll be getting back to the beers soon.
That's all right. Episode 37. Yay, 37.
We did.
It's the new 42.
It's what? Oh, the new 42. That's right. Yes, it is. So, oh, I'm just like a little flustered. We're running a little late. I did Tadpool Tech just a little while ago. Had a great time there, and I'm just sort of getting myself all ready because I got to do this, and then I have to do robot underpants. I don't know why the hell I'm like blanking. I'm just like bleh.
I know. You got 2 more shows to do, man.
No.
You can't.
Wednesday's very busy. You should see me. I'm like coding like a maniac this afternoon because I knew that I had a whole bunch of stuff to do today. Wednesday's very busy. All right, let's get to the news. All right, you take this one away.
Last Friday, Tim Cook apologizes for iOS maps.
No, wait, you got to do it like this. Last Friday. No, wait. Oh, it's got to sound like. Oh, wait, and you got to do it with like your hand over one ear. Last Friday.
I can't even do it. We have to call up Tim. We'll have to call up Tom Merritt to, I think, do the old-timey radio voice.
Tom does it very well.
He did. In any case, last Friday, kind of middle of the day, Apple tried to sneak out this press release to probably, not get a lot of news. And it really didn't get a whole lot of news.
No.
But Tim Cook did an open letter, posted it on Apple's site, apologizing for iOS 6 maps. And also suggested some alternatives in the letter, and said pretty much just that, look, we're sorry, we know we failed, and we know that everybody keeps, has high hopes for Apple, so do we. We want to be the best, and we really didn't, strive to meet our standard this time, and but we are working on making it better. In the meantime, hey, there's some other great Maps apps on the App Store. Maybe you should check them out, and okay, thanks, bye.
One of the things that I think I said this on the last show is that I just use maps.google.com in the meantime. And yeah, I think
don't
I did
like
say
using it in the browser. It's just,
It's
don't
a
know.
little-
It feels like it's more work for
well,
some reason.
it's a bit on the clunky side, I'll admit, but it's not nearly as maybe it's because I was on LTE, maybe it's because the website got better in time, because I think I can't even remember the last time I used it.
Yeah.
But
no, it's definitely gotten better on mobile.
yeah, I think the last time I said that the one problem that I had with it is that it doesn't keep up with my position, and you have to keep pressing the location button. And that's fine for now. That's on Google to fix that. But if I've seen people say that they're going to quit, or they're going to turn in their iPhone 5 or move from the iPhone to something else because of this.
They're leaving Apple. They're turning in their iPhone 5 for the new Galaxy S3. That's it. Just because one little app, that's it. We have no more confidence or trust in Apple, that they've failed for the last time. We're all jumping ship. And really, it has nothing to do with the iPhone 5. I mean, like they said, there's other map apps. The iPhone 5 is still getting crazy reviews everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's still in high demand. The ship times are still 14 to 21 days if you want one. That really doesn't it doesn't make the iPhone 5 a shitty phone, in my opinion.
No, it doesn't. And there are so many good things that this phone does. I love this thing. I was just using it last night just before I went to bed. And I was like, damn, this phone is great. Now, no, to be fair though, because I've always said that I try to play fair with everything that I do. If somebody sent me a Samsung Galaxy S3, I would actually try and see how it would fit into my own personal life. But I have a feeling, I know that the way that I work is that it's not going to very easily, and I'll tell you why.
Because you've already bought into the Apple ecosystem.
Well, that's it. Well, that's the main point. But my point being that there is nothing that I can think of right now that is the equivalent of Apple TV. Now, there was that one thing, I can't remember the name of it. It's that Black Death Star that Google had put out. It was like $400. What was the name of that thing?
The Q.
The Q, right. They have that, which is supposed to be similar. But they took it off the market, didn't they? Because it was too expensive or something was wrong with it?
Well, it just didn't do enough to make it worth the $400.
Right.
It, streams like some of your content and it looks cool. But like the Apple TV does a hell of a lot more. And having a Mac and an Apple TV, or an iPad or any combination of those, you're not then getting a Galaxy S3 or like a Nokia Lumia.
Sure.
It's just kind of going to break your whole experience if you've already bought into that. Now, if you have a Google TV or a Samsung Smart TV and say like a PC or running Linux or something else, then, there's like the whole Samsung ecosystem that you can buy into, or the whole kind of Google's trying to make their own ecosystem, but it's going to be a while because they don't have a desktop OS. Or even Microsoft is further along in having their own Apple-like ecosystem with Windows Phone 7 and now 8, and the Xbox. So they're right on Apple's tails with that.
And you don't even need a Mac to run this whole Apple TV ecosystem. It'll run off of Windows.
No, but
and that's
nicer.
No, I admit, no, you're absolutely right. It is nicer for it to run on Apple hardware. I'm just saying that you don't need to some people think that because it's called Apple TV that you have to have an Apple device.
But
you can run it on Windows.
More so,
yeah.
Well, more with Mountain Lion, it's even better. Like I push stuff from my Mac to my Apple TV, like a mirror through the mirroring to the Apple TV. I do that, almost on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
So that you do need a Mac for, and a new Mac at that. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously most of the stuff will run on a PC. It's not as great. It's not like their full experience that they're selling. But
sure.
I mean, in any case.
But,
also, while we're on this, can we stop blaming Steve Jobs and the death of Steve Jobs for all this Maps and iPhone 5 bullshit? Like, seriously, everybody's saying, oh, this wouldn't happen on Steve Jobs' watch. If Steve Jobs was still around, like, no, get off your high horse. I know this happens very, very rarely. But Apple has made mistakes in the past, and they've moved past them. I know, it's blasphemy. But Mac Cube, MobileMe, and Ping were not awesome.
Sure. And Steve Jobs has also written open letters on the website and said, look, we screwed up, we're sorry, and we'll fix it. One way or the other, we'll do this. So everybody's saying, oh, Apple Maps wouldn't have happened on Steve Jobs' watch.
Right.
I've been reading. I'm so tired of it already.
This is going to be the last straw, and this is going to be the undoing of Apple. And people said that about AntennaGate a year or so ago, and it wasn't.
Right. No, you know why? It's because people bitch and complain, and they're a vocal minority. Yes. But then what happens after a week or two? Everybody forgets everything. You see this so often on the internet, is that people almost need something to bitch about. They have to have something to complain about.
And then we all have something to bitch about.
Well, I'm just saying that once the thrill of the bitchiness goes away, then they move on to something else, and then people forget about it. And, you know, people like you and I do, because, you know, we talk about this stuff and we have to remember it. But for most people, they just don't care. The Android people, the ones that hate Apple, I'm not saying all Android people, because I have some friends that are Android people and they don't hate Apple. Wow. You would think, oh, what?
Nice.
But they're the Android hater. I'm sorry, the Apple haters seem to just remember this stuff because they always want to pick on us.
Well, no, they're always like on the lookout for, you know, when they can kick Apple in the balls, and when that little tiny opening comes up, they are on it like white on rice. Just look at Nokia. You know, this newest ad campaign they're running where it's kind of a nice, like, I like the animation cartoonist style, the art style they're going for, but they're telling a story of how Apple, you know, we know is kind of the gated walled garden, but also that, you know, it's just such a sad, boring, like almost 1984-esque world where we all live in black and white, and those are our only two options that are black and white, where we should all rebel and join Nokia and their colorful, all color phones, you know, that look like iPods.
I have to admit, I have not touched the Windows Phone. I want to.
They're nice. They're nice phones. I've totally given that, but I just like iPhones better.
I like iPhones better. I've played with Android, not thrilled with it. I just don't find it appealing to the way that I think, the way that I work, the ecosystem that I have. It's just not something that would fit into my life. And I think that it would probably drive me nuts.
I actually like Windows Phone as an OS better than Android. It makes more sense. It's more logical the way it's laid out, and the UI, how, you know, you move through the navigation. It's far more sensical than Android is from that standpoint.
Let me give you a reason why I would probably pick a Windows Phone over Android. Is that in Android has their ecosystem. They have their Google ecosystem. They have Google Plus, and they have Google. They have Gmail and all that. And that's perfectly fine. No, but that's fine. But that's it. If you take a look at Windows and you take a look at everything that Microsoft does, and you add the Xbox to it, that makes the Windows Phone that much more appealing, because I use my Xbox a lot, but I only use it when it's on. Like if I were a gamer, I think that I would probably be more in touch with a Windows Phone than I would anything else. You're smiling and you're shaking your head.
Well,
why?
You're like, if I was a gamer? I'm pretty sure you are.
No, I am. I'm just saying.
Gamer?
I'm saying that. I should say that I don't have my Xbox 360 on 24/7 like some gamers do, like the ones that are they just sit there and they come home and they grab the controller and they sit there on the couch all day. I'm not one of those kinds of people.
But they're Slurpee,
I'm not social with
Cheetos?
it. No, I'm just saying I'm not social with it. I have a long list of friends, but that's not how we keep in touch. I'm talking about the gamers, the hardcore Xbox 360 fans that sit there and love, and they would lick their Xbox if they could. Those are the kinds of people I think would that a Windows Phone would appeal to. I really can't speak for the enterprise.
The Xbox lickers.
Yeah, Xbox lickers. I can't speak for the enterprise people because I really don't know how well Android integrates with the enterprise, but I do know, because I've read several reports about this, that a lot of companies, my sister works for a big company here, and they're completely cutting off Android altogether. Said no. It's either going to be
just
an
like
iPhone.
that.
Yep.
They said no.
They said they're not supporting Android, and it's going to be either you stick with your old BlackBerry or you're going to iPhone. That's it.
Cool.
So, I'm just saying that purely from an observation point of view, not as an iPhone fan. I'm just saying that there are a lot of factors involved in picking out a phone. You can't just say, I like Android and I like open source. No, there's more to it than just that.
Well, you can.
Well, you can, but I think you're limiting yourself if you're not looking at all the angles. And that's what pisses me off about these people that call us iSheep. That's why I take it personally, because I spent a lot of time determining what phone that I was going to get and the way that I work and everything like that. And I find that the iPhone works better for me. So if it's my choice, why are they making fun of people that may well? Because you can say, this is sort of an argument that I want to use, is like, if you're going to make fun of people's choices, then what else are you going to make fun of? The technology that they pick and other things. I just don't like. It's like you want to rag on technology. It's like Commodore versus Atari. It's like you want to rag on the technology, fine. Ford versus Chevy, fine. But you start picking on the people being stupid for that. That's where I draw the line.
Yeah, let's make it personal. Oh wait, no. Okay, /rant off.
Yep.
So Verizon had a little bit of a kerfuffle this week with iPhones, both 4Ss and 5s on iOS 6, eating up data while on Wi-Fi.
Yeah, this was a mistake. Our friend Langley from Robot Underpants, he said that he mysteriously, this is before the report came out, he mysteriously was told that he ate up, what was it, 2 gig or something? Some
I think, 2 gig. He
large
was at
amount
a 2
of
gig
data
limit, and then he had already hit his limit within a couple of days, which is crazy.
Yeah, he's like, derp, what? And of course, then this came out, and now Verizon put out a quick carrier fix, and now everything should be fine.
Yeah, so pretty much, if this is affecting you, I mean, there's fixes all over the internet. If you Google the problem, most blogs have a detailed fix where you go through your settings to info and then download the carrier update and reboot your phone. It's very simple, and I believe Verizon set out a press release saying that they wouldn't charge for any data overages due to this problem. So.
Sure.
Okay.
Which makes me want to see that. Then I start thinking, if they're not going to charge for these data overages, then if they're not losing any money off of this, then how much are they making off this data really?
Well, no, I mean, if people really were using that much all the time, then
I guess what I'm saying is, if they're able to lose, if they're able to not charge people for all these overages, I don't know how many people this affected, but if they're able to eat it. How much money are they really making off the data?
Well, I don't think it's that they're able to or not. I think they're just taking the better stance that they're going to this time because it's completely their fault. I don't think it really means like, oh, they can or not. It's just that they're being, a good company and saying that they're just not going to charge for it.
I only say that because I've always said this. I've always wondered it, and I never really looked into it. How much does data really cost?
Nothing. Nothing.
That's the thing. Like cell phone data. How much does it really cost for this?
Pennies. Not nearly. Well, it's the same. Pretty much the same argument as text messages.
Sure.
Messages. Like, there's no way that costs 10-20 cents per message to send that crap. They're just raping us in the $20 a month charge for it. But what are you going to do? Really, the entire cell phone carrier system can be really overhauled from top to bottom. But that's a discussion for another day.
Yes, it is. And this is where my heart sinks a little bit. Why don't you talk about this October event? Because I haven't looked
Hey! Guess what might come out at the October event?
Oh.
So as, most of us would imagine, as we get closer to this rumored, still not official, October Apple event, the drumbeat and rumors gets much louder. Obviously, the iPad mini, we knew this. Possible current iPad refresh, and now new rumors of a possible iMac and MacBook Pro refresh at a Mac Pro refresh at this event. I think that's more just people wanting it, than based in any kind of fact.
Again, if Tim Cook said that new Mac Pros were going to come out at the end of 2013, I don't think that they'd be coming out in October, a year earlier.
Yeah, no. I think it's just people being really hopeful. And so, like, if you start a rumor and get enough support behind it, it'll become true.
Yeah, true. I can see an iMac refresh because the technology in them is quite good still.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm running one right now. I mean, this thing is amazing. I mean, compared to the Mac Pro that I mean, it's still here, but I mean, compared to that, it's awesome. I haven't checked any Geekbench scores on it lately, but if a new iMac came out next week, I really wouldn't feel that bad unless it had something amazing in it. But I don't
like a new puppy.
Like a new puppy, right? I'm just saying that with the technology that's out now, I really can't see anything that would make me go, "Oh man, I just bought this a month ago." So
Retina display.
No, I wouldn't care. I really wouldn't. I mean, I love this display as great as it is. I mean, I can read fine on it. If a Retina display came out, I would just go.
But if you could read better on it,
maybe. I'm just gonna sort of skip ahead one line on our show notes because it's related to this October thing. Is that I read that the invites for the October event are going to go out on the 10th, and it's reported right now that Apple is currently making the iPad Mini. We don't know if that's true. We see parts, but just like you and I have seen over the last few years, sometimes we see parts, sometimes we see more parts. The more parts we see, the more believable it becomes. This point, it's sort of like oh, really? Is it? Well, maybe. It's that point right now.
It could be a prototype. I mean, because they make prototypes for everything in every possible size and dimension. But if we start seeing, obviously massive quantities, then they're going into production. This would be about the time, if this was going to happen and say it went on sale end of October, beginning of November, then this would be the time to start ramping up production.
Now, this is the point and part came out at the same time. This is the point at which an iPad mini seems a little more real. Now that we're seeing what may be real prototype parts and such. Thoughts on getting one?
I'm probably not going to get one unless it has some new functionality that is new to that device that my iPhone and iPad can't do now. I'm happy with the bigger iPad. I think it's the perfect size because I actually want to do work on it. I like drawing on it, and I like I think the size for browsing is good. I don't know. I don't think I'd be getting it.
I think
that doesn't mean there's not like a spot for it in the market though, and I think they should still make one.
Yeah, there's a big hole in the market for a smaller form factor iPad, sure. Just not for people like you and me. But I think you might agree with me on this, is that the one selling point that you and I are waiting for on an iPad is a touch-sensitive pen, a touch-sensitive screen with a more accurate pen for drawing.
Dude, my Jot Pro stylus, awesome.
You like it? Because Is it accurate?
Yeah. I mean, as accurate as anything like that can be. Obviously, it's not 100% like pen and paper, but nothing is going to be. Not even your Galaxy Notes are going to be that accurate.
It doesn't have pressure sensitivity built into the pen, does it? Because that seems to be the only way that you can do it.
No.
Okay.
Some apps can like kind of mock it and spoof it, but no.
Because the way that I see it is that you can't push down on the screen like you could with a Wacom tablet. But you can simulate. You can do it in the reverse direction. You can have pressure sensitivity in the pen itself.
Yeah. The Jot, it says it doesn't, but from everything that I've seen and used, I can't tell. It doesn't look like it.
Okay. All right. And lastly, on our list of news, what finally happened?
Big surprise. Samsung sues Apple over the iPhone 5. They submitted their claims this last Monday, and I believe they're not going to meet in court until early next year. Judge Lucy Koh, again, to preside over this.
She must be sick of this already.
Yeah, she is like their judge, so forever and ever.
Oh man. And I don't have do I have it? No, I don't have it. I did see today that Samsung is claiming that the head drawer in their case which they lost to Apple was tainted because the drawer did not disclose some similar issues that he had. So now they think the whole thing has
He had issues?
yeah, he had I read it briefly just before dinner. So I didn't get a chance to read it, but he had, I don't know if he was sued or sued somebody, but he had some similar story, and felt that I think Samsung felt that
would
he
color
may
his
be he may be sympathetic towards Apple because of it. So
Yeah.
okay,
Well, we'll see how that goes.
all right, let's move on to rapid fire. Go.
MobileMe users who were supposed to be cut off on September 30th of their temporary 25 gigabyte iCloud, because iCloud's supposed to be only 5 gigabytes for free. If you were a MobileMe user, it blew up to 25 gigs, which was what you had with MobileMe. And then on September 30th, it was going to shrink back down to the 5 gigs like everybody else has.
Mm-hmm.
They're just kind of giving you time to get your things in order. Apparently that came and went and was extended to 2050. Yay!
So you can keep your Mac until 2050. I haven't even checked mine. What?
This might not be... Well, I don't think this is going to stick. You know, this is probably a glitch that will be corrected, but I don't think it's actually going to stay like that.
I still have my 25 gigabyte iCloud that I just checked. So
yeah.
All right. Apple is saying that there will be now. This conflicts with the story that Apple said a couple of weeks ago, where they said that they're going to be the only suppliers of the Lightning cable. Now they're saying that there will be third-party Apple Lightning cables. However, they have to be approved by Apple, which makes sense.
Which was the same thing with the 30-pin. That third-party companies who made 30-pin connectors had to license it and go through this process through Apple. It's the same thing. And I really didn't think that was going to stay for long. Like, Apple can't be the sole proprietor of connector cables like they are right now.
I didn't really think that was going to last long. I had a feeling that third-party cables were going to come out. But the thing is that they have to be created exactly to spec, because if not, then
it doesn't work.
Then it doesn't work. Whatever the operating system is expecting the cable to behave, if that doesn't happen, you're screwed. Which makes me wonder: would you spend the extra $10? I'm assuming like the third-party cables would be cheaper. Would you spend the extra $10 on an Apple cable knowing it's going to work, or would you spend less money on something that may work?
If it became a thing to where it was like a known issue that it may or may not work, like with the 30-pin connectors, there's no question. You could go out and buy like a $2 30-pin to USB cable. Mm-hmm. There wasn't like this lingering doubt, it might not work. Like they all worked. There was no question about it. If there was this lingering doubt, then yeah, I would probably pay more money for the guarantee. But again, I don't think that's going to happen either. I think, so Apple, maybe they become more stringent in their process and approvals. Who cares? Whatever, sure. It'll get done. There'll be third parties. There'll be cheaper cables, and there'll be more of them. Right now, most of the Apple stores I've been to in the hunt for more cables, they're actually sold out of these cables in a lot of Apple stores.
Already? Wow.
Well, because not only does everybody need these cables, everybody needs a bunch of these cables. Like, I bought like 6 or 8 of them.
Wow, I only bought 2.
Well, you need one for the car, work, home, one just to keep in my bag, another car, So yeah, right now, they're in high demand, low supply, and that 30-pin to 9-pin adapter isn't even going to come out until middle of October.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
right now that USB cable is all we got, and it's selling like hotcakes.
Google is supposed to announce today, by the time you're listening to this, we're recording this on Wednesday night. Thursday, by the time the show comes out, that Street View for the iOS web app is supposed to be out, which fills in a big hole for...
So the maps in the browser will have Street View?
Yes. I can't see that being a technological challenge for Google. And they made it.
No.
They can do it on the web. They can do it on this. I mean, it's a web browser.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, great. Yay, finally. I can sleep tonight. Apple says that purple fringing is normal on the iPhone camera. So enjoy and you're welcome. It's a feature.
I always wanted to tint my pictures purple.
Yeah, it makes them sexier.
I don't know how I feel about this, because on one hand, I don't necessarily want my pictures tinted purple, but at the same time, they use the sapphire lens, and this is what you sort of get from it. I don't know about that.
So just go to the App Store, download Aperture, and everything will be all right. Win-win.
Just like that. All right, moving on to culture. Now that I think about it, I probably should have picked a more somber song for this week.
Yes. Too soon. No.
Too soon. Yeah. I don't know.
Remember the 5th of November. No, October. The 5th of October. That will mark 1 year after Steve's passing.
Mm-hmm.
Later this month, Forbes magazine plans to release an issue with former friends and colleagues of Steve Jobs sharing stories about him. So, yeah.
Yeah, in the last year, I guess I should say that the lack of Steve Jobs really shows that nobody, I even have to say Tim Cook, but nobody has stood up and said, I'm going to be the person who pushes technology the right way for the people. Yeah, okay, they're a big company and everything, they do it right, they make a lot of money. I understand that. But there's nobody that has taken Steve Jobs' place, either in Apple or apart from it. And this is the time when somebody would want to step up and say, well, we're going to do it. I'm going to take such and such company and I'm going to push it because I was inspired by Steve Jobs, and nobody's done it in a year.
Yeah, nobody. There's nobody as ballsy and arrogant and self-obsessed. And I mean, it totally worked for him, obviously. If he wasn't such an asshole and just so sure of himself and his vision, he wouldn't have gotten done and made the progress like he made. If you think about how far he got with Apple, and really the markets that their products kind of innovated and turned on their side, it's amazing that he did so much in so little time, and I don't see anybody even coming close to that, much less topping it anytime soon.
No. What I think, though, is that he must have instilled in some key people at Apple.
I hope so.
Like his vision, like what drove him. Like, he could say it in interviews, but I think that he probably had a more personal connection with some of the people that worked at Apple, and like Tim Cook and such, Johnny Ive, and say, look, this is why I do the things I do. This is why I behave the way I behave, because you got to push people, because if you don't, like, pushing one person may push a product 5 years ahead. Mm-hmm. Maybe. I still remember one of the biggest things that I remember reading an article about Steve Jobs is that I think it was Time or Newsweek magazine, where he said, I want the iPod to not have screws. It seems like a real silly thing, but if you think about it, not having screws made it look that much better. And he pushed to get that done, and it happened. And maybe now. Granted, the iPhone has screws. There's a
I was
reason
gonna
why
say,
the
yeah.
iPhone has screws, but I think it has to because of the way it's designed. But the original iPod was designed in such a way where you shouldn't really have to take it apart. The iPhone, it's a little different because more people are going to be using it in different ways, and you may need to unscrew it to take the screen off.
Well,
I
the
get
iPod
that.
was more of like a one-trick pony, so it tended to last longer. They didn't have nearly the number of repairs or Genius Bar,
Sure.
appointments for it. iPhone 5 or iPhone in general rather, is a whole nother issue altogether. It's got so many more functions to it. People are using it far more in a far wider range of situations, and so there's a lot more to go wrong and a lot more a shorter lifespan, I think, too, due to that. But yeah, and apparently the iPhone 5 even more screws than the iPhone 4S.
Yeah, it's true. But wait, does it? Wait, is it? No, it only has two.
No, inside, they said in the
Oh,
iFixit
inside.
article that a lot of things that were glued together in the 4 and 4S were actually screwed together, and that was probably due to the EPEAT regulations and stuff, and
Oh,
needing to make it more recyclable.
yeah.
Um,
Okay.
any case, now I'm not. I really can't stand the whole thing with the Kardashians. I don't follow up with
Not a
them.
fan?
I don't know, and really celebrity gossip or anything like that.
Yeah, me neither.
Can't stand it. I just thought this was fabulous and hilarious and everything. Apparently, this last week, Kris Jenner, the mom of the Kardashians, called a Apple store, I believe in LA, asking for them to put on reserve 5 iPhone 5s. Chip chop. And they said, we can't do that. You'll have to come down and get them. And she got all mad, said she wasn't going to do that, wanted to speak to a manager. That didn't happen. So she sent her assistant down to the Apple store to apparently ask for the same thing, to just ask for 5 iPhone 5s and, just give them to me and I'm going to walk out and everything's going to be fabulous. And they actually had security escort her to the end of the line.
Nice.
That nobody gets, free rides. Nobody gets ahead of anybody else. Nobody is more important than anybody else. And even the Kardashians have to wait in line for their iPhone 5 like everybody else.
I just
So
know
go Apple.
I just know the name Kardashian. I still don't know really what they do.
Well,
What makes them so special?
they have a lot of sex with famous people.
That's it? Okay.
And then they videotape it and release it on the internet.
Oh, I see.
And that's how you get a reality show, and then
Well, that I knew.
people follow your life.
Well, okay. There are better ways to do that.
Mm.
All right, let's move on to apps before we go. What are Bad Piggies?
So, Bad Piggies is the follow-up to Angry Birds.
Oh, okay. I heard about this.
I can't stand Angry Birds. I played the first one for about 2 seconds and never downloaded any of the others. I'm not a big fan of that type of like projectile type, game where you're aiming stuff. Like I'm bad at it, and it's not fun, and it's just frustrating, and it makes me want to throw my phone out the window. But I heard a lot of stuff about this Bad Piggy, so I thought, okay, well, I'll just look at it. I downloaded it, ended up playing it for a few hours. It's a completely different type of game. You're at the perspective of the pigs instead of the birds this time, but instead of doing that slingshot projectile type game where you're destroying buildings that the pigs have made, you're the pigs building stuff. And so most of it is you're building little vehicles for the pigs to ride around in. And so it's I think even more of a physics-based, puzzle game than Angry Birds was, and you have to you get like a bunch of parts, and you have to figure out how to use these parts and put them together to construct, a viable vehicle that actually works within, real world physics. I like it.
Okay.
It's interesting.
What bothered me so much about Angry Birds is you would take your bird and you would throw it at what was a seemingly breakable board, and it would just bounce off of it or not push the board as far as you would think it would. It just frustrated the hell out of me, and I just stopped playing it.
Yeah, and then there were like candy and stuffed animals and T-shirts and
not doing that.
Forget it.
My app this week for the iPhone is called AppNet Rhino. I mentioned this a few weeks ago. This is one of the first. Well, this was the first app for the app.net system, which, by the way, they dropped the price. Oh,
that's right.
They dropped their price from $50 to $36 for a year, I believe it is. Yeah, I know. I just paid the $50 and now it's $36. But I think there are 5 apps now, but this is the first one. And I've been using this. I'm still not quite used to this whole app.net thing because everybody's on Twitter. And of course, what happens when there's a big new social network? You get all the people, the social media police, that always tell you, don't copy what you say on one place that you say on another. And I'm like, well, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
So, and anyway, app.net is pretty cool. Still don't quite know what to do with it. But there you go. You can use it.
But there it is.
But there it is, and the app is free. So that's it.
Hey, it can't be that. Awesome.
All right, we're done.
Yay, that was a quickie. Just a quickie.
That's for number 37. That's good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Go.
So we're on the Google Plus, the Infinite Loop Show on Facebook, Infinite Loop TV on Twitter. I am at Casey Queso. You are at Star Mike. We are also theinfiniteloopshow.com. Leave us a review. You can email us at theinfiniteloopshow@gmail.com. We will read your emails on air. We will also be your best friends. So do that. Have a fabulous weekend. And until next week.
Adios.
Bye. I like Max.